皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So today's story is another episode from my tea ceremony training. I'll try to make this as short as possible, but there's another episode that I wanted to introduce that really expresses the way of tea ceremony, and you might think that wow, that's really complicated and also seems a little bit tiresome, but I wanted to share with you. Yeah, this is how it is. So basically what happened is the other day, and before I start talking, I want to make it very clear that it does not mean that I disrespect my sensei or anything, by the way. As I always say, all of my sensei, if I do not like my sensei, I'll be changing my sensei by now. So what should I say? I personally feel that I have the freedom to do so, regardless of what the traditions in the traditional world of Japanese culture say about me. So I love and respect all of my sensei, all of the how many sensei do I have? 5 sensei that I have? Yeah. So I want to make that point clear. Anyways, after my tea ceremony training the other day, I actually asked my sensei a question. Now, which is really scary to be honest, but because she always tells me that I can ask her anything that I want to ask her. That's what she constantly tells me. So I asked her about a certain movement in the tea serving procedures. Now, if you've ever slightly seen a tea ceremony before, you might have seen all the walking around and sitting down and purifying the items with the cloth called hukusai and everything. You might have seen it before. If you haven't seen it before, I'll try to remember to keep a link inside the description box for you guys to watch it. But I asked her a question after my training about a certain movement with the hukusa, the wiping cloth basically, that you use to purify the items during the procedures of tea serving. And I asked her a question, why do we do this movement in between at this time, and why do we do this? And her answer was, you know what? I have never actually thought about it before. I don't know. Yeah. And to be honest, I completely understand. There's a lot of, for example, it could be from no theater, it could be a certain phrase in the singing that no one understands exactly what the meaning is. I mean, even for modern songs, like in lyrics, there's sometimes some words or sentences that doesn't really make that much sense, but it's there because it just sounds cool or stuff like that, right? Yeah. So, no, I don't believe that everything needs to be completely explainable, you know? There must have been some intentions by our ancestors who created tea ceremony, but it doesn't have to. I don't believe that everything has to be completely explained, and is always a good thing that everything is completely logical, you know. But anyway, so she told me that she doesn't know the reason why. She's been doing tea ceremony all her life from 2 years old, so that's more than almost 60 years. I think she's been doing tea ceremony, and that's what she told me. So I was like, okay, that's completely fine. I mean, I don't say that to my sensei, by the way. In Japanese, I say just one or few words to reply, because in Japanese, I try to speak less as possible to avoid trouble. And what she told me afterwards really expresses how the tea ceremony is run. So she said to me, of course, my sensei has her sensei too that she still trains under. She has multiple sensei. And even as a professional, she still takes lessons herself. And she told me that I have never had a chance to ask my sensei. My sensei said, I've never had a chance to ask my sensei about it because I'm just way too scared. I'm just way too scared to ask them because for any chance, if they didn't know about what I asked them, I would embarrass them, right, in front of everyone. Yeah, so that's the reason why even if I had a question, even if I wanted to know about something, in order to prevent or avoid embarrassing them, I'm way too scared to ask this question that you just asked me. Now, trying to explain it in English right now might make it sound a little bit different, but do you understand the intention of what she just said? If you've been listening to my previous podcast about tea ceremony and my conversations with my sensei, you might understand. But this basically means she brought out a different episode to explain to me what situation I have created. She doesn't say, why did you ask that to me? You have embarrassed me. No, she said, I would be too scared to ask my sensei because I'm afraid of embarrassing them. means that's exactly what you just did to me. This is exactly the reading the air kind of culture in Japanese society, especially in the world of tea ceremony. It's literally, you're training literally to do this. Yeah. So you can understand how difficult it is, because it literally is very, very difficult, because the senseis, any sensei, not just my sensei, would tell you, feel free to ask me anything you'd like to know. That's what they would say. But again, every culture has this too, of course, at some level, but in Japan it's especially strong, the honne and tatemae part, right? What you're actually thinking and what you actually want to say and what you do actually say. Yeah. What's inside your heart and what comes out of your mouth needs to be different. Yeah. So when someone tells you in the world of tea ceremony, feel free to ask me anything you want to know. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. That is the tatemae, surface part. And that's not the honne. Honne is the real part of inside the heart, right? That's different. Yeah. So this is the kind of communication that you train to learn through tea ceremony. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did it again. I was really shocked when my sensei said this to me. Because my sensei is the kind of person who really wants to be logical, by the way. She's rather the kind of person who studied a lot. She's obsessed with tea ceremony. She just simply loves it. And that's the reason why she does it. And I really love her passion. So she does know a lot about the reasons why we do this, reasons why we do that, much more than an average tea ceremony sensei. Many, many people, not just tea ceremony actually, any traditional culture, even the leading masters of each traditional culture, they do it because that's what they did. There's no reason behind it. They never thought of why. I've talked about this in my podcast before. I'm going to be talking about this in a YouTube short soon. But one of the things that I don't like about Japan is that no one asks why. No one knows why we do these things, or why we say these things, or why we do that, go there. No one knows about it. But my sensei is a person who rather knows about whys, because she was curious herself. But even my sensei didn't know about that. So I was like, okay, if my sensei doesn't know about it, I'm pretty sure no one knows about it. That level. So I trust her at that level. Yeah. But so that's the reason why she has taught me many, many things in the past. As I was training, she herself have taught me the logical reasons behind the movements of tea ceremony. So I thought I could ask her, because she already knew a lot about a lot of the movements. But it was a mistake. It's okay for me to listen to what she already knows and just sit there and listen. But me asking from myself to her about all the movements and the specific reasons behind it was a no. It was a no. That's not the right way to say it. Yeah, it's not a good thing to do. Yeah. So again, this was something that I learned through my training, and it's really you might think of it as a double-faced way of communication, or double-faced, double personality, the front side, back side, everything. And a lot of people take it as a negative way, yeah, especially when we're talking in English, or thinking from a different mindset, it might seem really tiresome and such. But again, in the Japanese society in the past, this was how society worked. And although it might seem really troublesome and tiresome, this was a peaceful way of communication in the past. So for me, although I am completely the person who believes that this is really, really tiresome and troublesome, I still want to learn the way of how Japanese people used to communicate in the past using these techniques, because this is about learning the hearts of Japanese people. Yeah. And to be honest, I just said that this is to learn the hearts of Japanese people, but most Japanese people today do not use this way of talking or this method of communication anymore. But I want to, learn the traditional kind of mindset. So that's the reason why, even though there's a lot of things that I really feel uncomfortable with, somehow I'm still attracted to tea ceremony. It's really weird. I'm doing something that goes completely against my original personality that I feel really uncomfortable with, but still somehow, because I guess I don't fully understand it, I want to know more about it. And this is the reason why I really can't get away with tea ceremony, and I just want to continue training, and I enjoy it so much. But anyways, I think I'm one of the very few people in Japan that can explain to you these deep themes about tea ceremony. So whenever I learn something new from my tea ceremony training, I love to share you again through this podcast channel. So then everyone, as I always say, the ultimate goal of my life is to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true. So I know there's a lot of people studying Japanese willing to come to Japan to study, travel, work, or even train their traditional culture and such, like tea ceremony, right? However, I am very afraid that Japan will not be able to make everyone's dreams come true in the future because we're facing a lot of social problems, we are losing our traditional culture, and the younger generations who are supposed to be carrying on the good things about Japan are dying because of all the social issues being shoved against them. So I really want to dedicate my life to try to make Japan a better place. I want to try to solve the social problems, preserve and evolve traditional culture, and also help out the younger generations so they can have a brighter future. And to do that, the nearest goal I have right now is to achieve 2 million subscribers by January 2023 on my main channel, so all your likes and comments will help to boost my videos to new viewers who have never seen my channel before. It helps it out with the algorithm, so it'd be great if you can help me out by giving me extra likes and comments. Yeah. And so for tea ceremony, I won't be able to do anything special for a while. Let's talk about that at the very end. A lot of people have been telling me, Shogo, can't we see your tea ceremony procedures? You know, your tea serving, that kind of stuff. My sensei prohibits me from doing it. She wants me to at least get to a certain, to a professional level. There's basically license kind of thing, ranks within tea ceremony too. She told me that she wants me to get to a certain level before I can do that. Yeah, and sorry, that's my daughter. So until then, I won't be able to do it, and I completely understand the logic. I believe that if you start to show your skills before you're fully trained, there are the pros and cons behind it, and she's the person who believes that there's more negative effects. And because I am training under her, I will follow her 100%. You know, because I have no right, no power, no experience to go against her at all. So until I get to a certain level, I'm going to be 100% going trying to aim for the same color as she is. So that's the reason why I won't be able to do tea ceremony serving in front of you for at least the next maybe 5 to 10 years, I think. Yeah. But anyways, I will be able to get to that level someday soon, so I hope you can look forward to it. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.